episode is called The Power of Asking to Help. Not for help, but actually to help someone else. So we'll go back quite a ways to where I was working in London for a mergers and acquisitions consulting firm. So we did a lot of work around Company A wanting to buy Company B, either helping Company A buy them or helping Company B not to get bought. And I was working in London and we had a Paris office. And the office said, "Who wants to come and work here? We need an extra person." And I said, me, because you must always say yes to adventure. And they said, "You speak French?" I said, "Yes, I do." So they had me tested by a French woman who was working in the London office, who luckily was a good friend of mine, and I passed with flying colours, and off I went to Paris. And in Paris, we were working on an acquisition by an American company of a French healthcare manufacturer. And it was a friendly acquisition. Everyone wanted it to happen on both sides. Now, in order to do the acquisition, we were hired to create a valuation model. What was the company worth? And for this model, there are lots of inputs, operational inputs and metrics and efficiencies, expected growth, marketing activities, new product development, views on the product, how sustainable it was, HR, the employees, what was owed, any retirement plans, and so on. It was very complicated. And at this company, at the centre and the power position of all valuations was the person in charge of running the model, the discounted cash flow model. And all the inputs from the other groups, the marketing, the HR, the operations, the IT, infrastructure, and so on, all got put into this model and was managed by this power lead. And in London, this role, for the time I'd been there, I'd never seen it played by a woman. This role always went to a man. And I was very interested in how the models worked in the financial side. But I was assigned to the marketing team. So I went off with a colleague, a female colleague, and we went to hospitals and interviewed doctors and nurses and asked them what they thought of this product to understand its real value and potential. Now, as it happened in the Paris office, which was small, I was sitting next to a chap called Arno, who was in the power position. He was the head of the model, at the centre, the spider at the centre of the web where all the inputs came in. And we got chatting, and I was interested in the model, so I asked him a few questions about it. And he was happy to answer, perhaps because I was young and cute and interesting at that time, and he didn't mind a few questions from me. And he started talking to me about the model. And I sort of said, "Could I help you with it a bit? Could I learn a bit more? Could you tell me about this?" And he said, "Sure." And he printed out things for me to read at home, and he explained it to me, and he was very kind. And as it happened, I found a mistake somewhere, something very small that didn't seem to sort of add up right. And I went in the next day and I asked him about it. He goes, "Yes, you're right, that's not quite right." I was like, "Oh, okay, great." And then I sort of found something else. And then he went to the head of the Paris office and said, "I need some help, and I would like Janet to be my assistant modeler." He had asked me if I was all right with that, and I said, "Yes, please," because I'd done the marketing piece and really wanted to learn this financial modelling. So he helped me understand it, and I provided various different inputs and coordinated them. We came out with a model, we came out with a valuation. The valuation was accepted by the American company and by the French company, and the acquisition took place. And I realised I really loved running the financial model and coordinating all the inputs and looking at the result and what a company was worth. And so when I went back to London, I thought, gosh, I hope I'll get to do some more modelling. But I didn't know that it would come up, and I didn't know projects before they happened. And shortly after I went back, I was called into the head of the London office, into his office. A couple of partners were there, and I thought, golly gosh, what's this about? And they said, "Listen, we've been invited to model a very large British company for potential acquisition by an American company. And we didn't know who we should have do the model. And so we got our lead modelers together, and Arno spoke really highly of you. And so we're going to have you do it." And I was absolutely thrilled. And because I'd asked to help in an area that was interesting to me, and because I'd learned of my own initiative, I then got to be in the power position for this extraordinary acquisition and this complicated model. And it was tremendous fun to do it, to learn, to put all the pieces together, to coordinate the team and work with the inputs, and I tremendously enjoyed it. And even better, when I went to business school after, I had a huge advantage in the finance classes because I'd already done a lot of the work and a lot of the learning from my experience at this M&A consulting firm. So what I learned is, find folks in the areas that are of interest to you and offer to help them, even off the side of your plate. And that will lead to you developing your skill set in a new area. You can see if it's interesting or not to you, and it can lead to a whole lot of new activities, a new career path, and a lot of fun.